Okay. Hello? Hello, Charlie? All right. Welcome, everybody, to the College of Complexes. My name is Tim. And again, another snowy night in Chicago. We got two people here at the restaurant, our speaker and another audience member and myself. A few more might come in over time, but I appreciate all of you guys coming in on Zoom. As I said, this is a College of Complexes. There are two rules that we govern by. One is one fool at a time, and the second is no personal attacks. The College of Complexes consists of the following format. First, we have a brief announcements period, and Charlie will go over the schedule. Second, our speaker will speak tonight for a while after that, and then we'll have a question and answer period, and then our infamous rebuttal period after that. You want to stop here by 7:30 because the restaurant closed for late and I need some time to get my equipment put away. Other than that, Charlie, take it away with the announcements. I'll get everything set up with the share screen here, and we're all set. So go ahead, Charlie.
All right, bring up the schedule.
I have already.
Thank you. Bring up the schedule. There we go, a little bit further. All right, welcome everyone to meeting number 3,852 of the College of Complexes, the playground for people who think. Although I'm not a capitalist, I will give an advertisement for each of our upcoming programs. Okay, scroll up a little bit. On next week, January 31st, our resident Central and South American expert of many occasions. He's spoken here, Stanfield Smith. He's in Nicaragua right now, but we're going to look at the military actions in Venezuela. So it's very poignant program coming up next week. Following that, on February the 7th, we're going to feature an activist. This gentleman was also in the state legislature, but he had undertaking a march just to save America. So he's been an activist for a number of years in another state, but he's got a few stories to tell, and it's just so it should be an interesting evening from a veteran activist. Following that, scroll up. We skip a date, and our next date will be February 21st. That's our special President's Day program featuring Peter Street. We'll be talking about how he thinks how to remove a president. So if you have your own views about this, or perhaps you think we should not remove the president, or please come that evening. Should be a vivid discussion. Following that is March 7th. Our own Professor Richtenberg of philosophy will be looking at the God question, arguments for and against the existence of God. Again, a topic that should generate some interest. After that, scroll up.
March 21st.
We have March 21st, around Tim Bolger. We'll be talking about democracy as the first casualty and as an act of war and so forth. So on March the 31st. All right, and we're looking for speakers for Earth Day and May Day and filling out the schedule. If you'd like to speak, please contact me. All right, Tim. That's it. Thank you. Take it away.
Okay, no problem. All right. Let's introduce. Go ahead, you're on. Introduce yourself, and we'll get you to up there right away, and whatever. So.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can everybody hear her? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, welcome.
All right, go ahead and start.
Ready? Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. My name is Demi Palecek. I'm running for 13th District State Representative. I'm not originally from Chicago. I've been here about 12, 15 years or so. I'm originally from Southern Illinois. My mom was an immigrant from Mexico and struggled with racism, mental health disorders such as bipolar and schizophrenia. Simultaneously, my dad struggled from PTSD from Vietnam. So I learned at a very early age that I had to help my family make ends meet. At age 14, I started washing dishes to help my family be able to pay for rent and groceries. And it kind of never got easier from there. It ended up that I enlisted in the Air Force, active duty. Just that was my pathway out of poverty. And my first enlistment, I was assaulted on duty. I became the first whistleblower on my base, and that led me to getting kicked out of the military for telling. While I got kicked out, he got help from the military to become a police officer on the civilian side. I went home and I regrouped for a while, and I just promised myself that I would never let that happen to anyone else. And I enlisted in the Army National Guard, where I've been in now for 12 years, 14 years total in combined service. And I became over sexual harassment, equal opportunity in the last couple of years, trans soldiers as well. As you know, we've lost all three of those things under this administration. In my military service, I was activated to January 6th in the wake of the insurrection. So like the day after. So we were there for about 3 or 4 months trying to protect the Capitol and keep peace and order. And I'm currently one of the 2 National Guardsmen in the country that is speaking out against the Trump administration. I'm running for state representative because I think right now more than ever, state rights are important and we need to safeguard our state. I'm very lucky. We are all very lucky to live in Illinois, but that doesn't mean that under this president that we are not up for, our rights are not up for debate. And going with this, I do a lot of mutual aid in my community. The district starts in Wrigleyville and goes up to Uptown, Andersonville, Edgewater, Ravenswood, and it's very diverse, very progressive. We are a district of immigrants and migrants, and so on my block you can get Indian food, Ethiopian food, Mexican food, and then a burger. So that is just kind of how the entire district is a safe haven for immigrants. And that is a very scary thing for people right now, right? When I go to the doors, people are peeking out of their windows. So I think immigrant protections are important. Also, our military is losing a lot of safeguards and protections. And I mean, I'm just a progressive as well. And I think that as a country, we can be doing much, much better than we are currently doing. I think that my real life expertise within the military and being boots on the ground, going against ICE, going against the regime is very important, especially right now.
I don't know why I said that like serial killer. I shaved in the tub. I love it when you shave in the tub.
Please mute yourself.
So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Does anyone have any questions or anything like that? I kind of wanted this to be like an open discussion a little bit. I do know that today was very hard on a lot of people, myself included. Especially as a military member, like I said, I actively do go against ICE and what is happening. I think they are illegal orders. I think it is fascism. And I think we have to go against the regime. So that being said, peaceful protesting is part of our Constitution, and to be murdered in broad daylight, I think is very jarring to a lot of people, a military member included. So yeah, I would love to, kind of have community and be there for everyone if you would like. We do a lot of mutual aid, like I said, in the district. So every month I do a Sandwich for Solidarity event. Essentially fundraise the entire month to get as much money as I can to go to Costco and make sandwich packs for neighbors who may be in need of help. Since ICE, a lot of people have been scared, so we've pivoted a little to have half dinner service and then also be able to deliver things with rapid response. Also in this race, I've also seen with talking to a bunch of people that seniors in assisted living have between $3 and $52 left at the beginning of the month to survive the rest of the month after they've paid their rent and food. And that's not enough for soap, toilet paper, hygiene products, and medicine. So we are doing a Love Thy Neighbor event. It will be at the end of February, so we can fundraise the entire month. So if anyone has extra soap, shampoo, or wants to buy any of those things, toothpaste, I have a list on my website of everything that we are taking. And then if anyone wants to join Sandwich for Solidarity, also on my website. And since it is so cold outside, we've also added blankets, boots, gloves, anything that you think people would need. We're totally accept hygiene products for that as well. And if anyone wants to come make sandwiches and do a feel good project, more than welcome to that as well. But yeah, like I said, I'd like to maybe open it up. If anyone wants to talk about anything, have any discussions about how today made you feel, totally welcome that.
Okay, so you want to go right into questions then right away?
Yeah, we totally can.
Okay. All right, Alexandria, go ahead. Let me get the. Go ahead, Alexandria. Well, you were the first one. Go ahead.
So if you may not know, third parties in Illinois, I'm full transparency, I'm biased, I'm a Green Party member, have a lot of difficulty getting ballot access within Illinois. They're required to get significantly more signatures. Just to give my current House of Representatives district as an example, the Republicans need about 750 signatures to get on the ballot. The Democrats about 950, and a new party or third party or independent 16,000 in the same time period. So what would you do to push for more equal representation for third and parties and independent candidates?
I'm a paying member of the Working Families Party. I think that we need that diversity of different working parties, multiple different parties. And I don't agree with the threshold of how diverse it is of those members. I have several people who are coming to me who are going to run for Congress as an independent. And I had no idea, and I don't think many people know about it actually, how diverse those numbers really are. And I think that's detrimental to our democracy, to be honest with you. So I think that we should level the playing field and be able to talk more openly. I mean, everyone complains about these two-party systems. Well, why are we still continuing to make it so hard?
Okay, Charlie, go ahead.
Yes, Madam Candidate, I'm a secretary of a public transit watchdog organization. And given the congestion in your district and the fact that the state legislature controls public transit in Chicago, pays for it, how would you rate public transportation within the district on buses and trains? Do you think they're good enough right now, or what areas do you think might need some improvement?
I don't think they're good enough right now. And I know that we are not up to standards from before the pandemic. Regardless of what people say, we've seen on Reddit of people literally tracking all day long for weeks, defying what has been put out. So I think holding that accountable, but also, investing in them as well, right? So I'm working on the Rifle Act. Essentially, it's gun violence prevention, but it's also adding money back into what we need. So every taxpayer pays $1,800 a year that goes straight to gun violence issues. So it could be Medicaid, Medicare, first responders, anything like that. We're finding that most of the weapons found in gun violence are from the 4 surrounding states of us. It's not really Illinois. So sending them a bill of the havoc that they're doing in our state. It would be similar to a bartender being held liable for someone getting a DUI after they left their restaurant, or a plastic surgeon malpractice. And essentially, taxpayers would get $1,800 back almost immediately. And then within 4 years, it would generate a lot of money that we would put into Medicaid, Medicare, and the CTA. I mean, when I door knock, how many people are saying that families truly rely on CTA, and now they're super late for work, or their train or bus have just never shown up? Like, that's detrimental to not only these families, but our city and the working class people. And I'm a working class person who does take the train and buses. And especially in this weather that we're having, it is extremely dangerous to be out there for so long waiting for transportation. So I think that there's a lot of different things that we can be doing. I'm also working. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Thank you.
All right, Norma, go ahead.
Yeah, I wondered, you said you would welcome volunteers and people making donations. What's the address for your office?
My address is, I need to look up the address. I don't remember. It's above the Green Mill, though. Whatever the Green Mill. I feel like everyone in the city knows how to get to the Green Mill. It is on my website, though. It's like, can you look it up, though?
It's 4802 North Broadway,
4802 North
Suite
Broadway.
200.
Suite 200.
Somebody just let us know.
4802 North Broadway. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, who else has a question?
Behind you.
Okay, let me get you on camera there. Go ahead.
What was the party you said you were a paying member of?
Working Families Party.
Your website says that you're running as a Democrat. How do you do that?
Yes. I mean, you can pay dues to other parties the entire time. Yeah, just to get them on the same level, because a lot of the legislation I do is very progressive. But as it was said before, that you have to have one of the two parties, or you essentially will not be taken seriously and you will not win.
I have a couple other ones.
Go ahead.
On your website, you have something that for like tenants' rights or something like that. You support something called just cause eviction. What does that mean?
So essentially right now in my district, there's a lot of back and forth about what is happening with eviction, right? We have about 60,000 open spaces that people can be living in that are just not being given to people to live in. So when we talk about the space of transitional housing or affordable housing, we don't really have true affordable housing, right? A studio for $1,900 is not true affordable housing, if you would agree, right? Or do you agree with that?
I'm not in the market, so
Okay. Do you think a studio for $1,900 is affordable?
for some people it will be, and for others it won't.
Okay, so under affordability, that would not translate to affordable. A studio for $1,900 is not affordable. Okay.
But
So
what is just cause eviction? What does that mean? That hasn't answered my question.
I mean, so just cause eviction. I mean, if you are just squatting, like we'd have to have protections for not only the small landlords, but also the people who are in them, who are going through these issues that need help paying for things. So as of right now, we don't have many protections in the state for people who are struggling. So yes,
That's not answering my question. So okay, let me put a scenario and let's see how it works. So I'm a landlord and somebody is not paying rent. The current laws are whatever they are. I'm not sure what they are, but you're saying that just cause eviction sounds like it would be a change from whatever the current laws are. Okay, fine. So somebody stops paying rent. I can't just let people live there for free. What would the eviction process look like under a just cause eviction paradigm that you're suggesting?
I mean, so it'd be similar like we do in European countries. You would have to go through a process. Just cause doesn't mean that you can just kick someone out because you no longer agree of the same thing, right? Because you have a contract. So you can't just, essentially at the end of the day, a lot of landlords are in a lot of trouble right now. And how this started is because they just wanted to kick people out because of any reason, because they saw a change in the way that the market was going. So you can't just kick somebody out because you're like, I'm going to get more rent by changing something and then kicking these people out and then adding $1,000 rent, which is what we are seeing over and time again in this city. So just cause would be that it would only be a 2 to 3% influx of what the rent was before. Same thing as every year when you get a new lease with your landlord, it can't go up 75%. It would need to stay between 2 and 3% of going up.
So it's a rent control. Part of it is rent
control. It's rent stability.
That's just a euphemism. But I still haven't heard an answer to. I'm a landlord. Somebody stops paying rent. You said it would be like how it is in Europe. I don't know what that means, so I don't know what they do in Europe because I don't live there.
So it would be strict regulations on how you can kick people out.
Oh, okay. Let me be more precise. How long would it be before I can? Let's say the person stops paying, they're never going to pay again. Do I have to? Does the process take like 6 months? Does it take 3 months? Like, am I out like 6 months of rent while they milk the process while I can't, recoup any rent costs and, I could have somebody else living there. Like, what is the time frame? What does it look like? Give me the nuts and bolts of what you're planning.
So, I mean, if you are a landlord, you already have between 6 months and a year of rent saved up for these issues, right? Same thing with insurance, right? So that would be another year. But despite that, and despite everything that landlords are doing unjustly to tenants who are losing their jobs, it would be between 3 and 6 months of what would take to get someone out. But regardless of that, we are doing safe havens and we are reconstructing how we are helping people who need help, right? So right now, if you lose your job and you have no money in the bank and you cannot pay your rent, what happens? Nothing. You get kicked out and no one helps you, right? There's no safe haven. There's no backwards help. Like, our country does not help people who need help. So with that, we would also be adding that safety structure for people, that safety net, if anything happens. If someone breaks their leg, they will be homeless, right? About 92% of Americans right now, if they get hurt, they will be homeless. They will become bankrupt. So at this point, we are going to have funding that will help people at least be able to take out some kind of loan or anything to that effect and pull out from there. Essentially, like, if you look at people, how much people make, that how much they need to make in order to get SNAP benefits, you're probably needing to bring in, I think it's $1,100 a month or less. That's not enough to survive on. That's not enough for rent, right? So we are not setting anybody up in this country, let alone state, for success to get back on their feet.
Okay, Charlie, go ahead. You got another question.
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm secretary of the Chicago Greens. And at the next meeting, if they ask me who they should support for your candidacy, you or your opponent, specifically, how green are you compared to your opponent? How important? How important is the environment to you?
I mean, the environment's super important to me. I think it should be very important to everyone, especially right now, how many green protections we are losing. Everything from how we are getting our food to how we travel to work. I mean, being green is I think needs to be taken more seriously, especially in this city. As we've seen time and time again, there's no regulations over where our recycling is going, as it's going to the same place as our garbage, right? And so if the city who's super left isn't doing what it needs to be, that means the rest of the state is definitely not doing that.
Are you in favor of restricting the use of plastic, such as the styrofoam containers behind you? There's a stack of them. Do you have any feelings? It's a developing topic.
He wants to know how you what's your concerns about the use of plastic, and would you restrict it?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of science on. I went to the restaurant depot, like expo they do every year for restaurants and new food that comes out. And there's a whole new aisle of all these eco-friendly Tupperware or to-go containers that biodegrade within a month. And they're actually cheaper to use. They're essentially made out of like special like grass and paper, and it's going to save, and I think not only just add more jobs, but also obviously prevent from having so much in landfill.
Okay. I'd like to know what your status is about. I'd like to know what your status is about nuclear power. And have you ever heard of something called the liquid fluoride thorium reactor?
No, I have not heard about that.
I'll do a little brief on it.
Okay.
In our rebuttal period.
Okay.
All right. But what is your general stance on nuclear power then?
Well, I mean, I feel like that's very touchy right now. That was my first job in the military, was working with nuclear weapons in North Dakota. And I mean, I've seen what it can do. And I think obviously as a military member, I understand why we say that we need to have them as a deterrence, but I don't feel comfortable with them under this presidency and him having tantrums, essentially threatening to use them often. I don't agree with them. I'm a pro-peace veteran. So I don't want them. I also seen what it has done to communities nearby, to animals nearby, and that I don't agree with as well.
What about the specifics of electric power generation from power plants, nuclear power plants itself.
Like, what about it?
Yeah, what are your views on like some of the Byron nuclear plants and some of the stuff around Illinois? And do you think it's a viable option?
Shut them down.
I mean,
Shut 'em all
I know
down.
that
Charlie, let her finish, please.
I know that a lot of people are very pro the data centers and those coming in. Absolutely not. We've seen time and time again how they're destroying small towns and just leaving them desolate. And they want to do that to Chicago and the north side. Like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with how much water they're using. Yeah, I mean, I'm very against those coming to the city. I don't like, I know a lot of people's, justification that we can tax them, but at the end of the day is what's that at expense for taxing them.
All right. Ellen Corley, go ahead. Show yourself on the when you ask the question, please. You're up next, Ellen. Unmute, please. Ellen, you're up next. Unmute and show yourself, please. Ellen,
Okay, I got it. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Yeah, what is your? For one thing, I'm running for Congress in the 5th district. So so we're going through some of the same hurdles and processes, I guess. And I don't know if you've got questionnaires, but what are you filling out questionnaires, and who is backing you? That's what I think my biggest concern is, whether people are backed by APAC or any other groups.
Yeah, I am filling out questionnaires. Thank you for running also. No, I'm not backed by APAC. I do not think that we should have any special interest money from other countries or any special interest money coming in. I am backed by Jan Schakowsky, Anna Valencia, David Hogg, Leaders We Deserve, Purple Move, Vote Bets, about 30 other organizations and elected officials. I am proud to say that I am not controlled by any special money interest groups. I have vowed to not take any corporate PAC money as well.
Was Jan Schakowsky never backed by APAC? I thought she was probably have been. No.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I took her endorsement. We've worked together on Operation Swing State and things like that. She believes in my leadership, but I haven't taken any money from Jan Schakowsky.
I see.
You got
okay. I'll come back for another one afterwards.
Right. Go ahead and ask your question, sir.
Yeah, you said that January, it's two questions, but I want to ask the first one first. You said January 6th was an insurrection, January 6th, 2021. I disagree with that, but I know there are plenty of people who think that that's true. Why do you believe January 6th was an insurrection?
I believe January 6th was an insurrection because people wanted to believe propaganda and lies. People want to continue to say that the Capitol wasn't breached. I mean, I showed up at the aftermath of it, and there was nothing but broken glass. There was literally blood on the walls. That's not a peaceful protest, right?
Okay, so what if it's a riot then? Riot is not an insurrection.
No, but breaking into a federal building is an insurrection.
It is. So
Correct.
anytime a federal building is broken into, you would consider that an insurrection.
You could.
You could, okay. So during what they called the Summer of Love, in the wake of George Floyd, wasn't there like a federal building, like a federal courthouse that got broken into by like BLM and Antifa types? Would you call those insurrectionists?
What is BLM?
No. Would you call those insurrectionists?
What is BLM?
Black Lives Matter.
Oh, I just was wondering why you wouldn't say Black Lives Matter.
I've heard it referred to both ways.
Oh, okay. No, I wouldn't, because they didn't beat up police officers. They didn't attack everyone.
But
they didn't.
But wait, they broke in. By your definition of what you just said about January 6th. The what I just described meets that definition.
So are you saying that it's okay to attack police officers?
Oh, no. By your definition, you're now making double standards.
That is not a double standard.
Oh.
No one was hurt. Was anyone hurt? No. But people died during the insurrection, right?
How many?
About 7. What are you talking about? 7 were dead. They were police officers.
Yeah.
They died after January 6th.
Ashley Babbitt was a traitor.
Oh, he was a traitor.
Yeah, she was a traitor.
He was unarmed.
What do you think the January 6th people were trying to accomplish?
They wanted to steal the election.
They wanted to steal the election. So you believe that in their mind, they knew that Joe Biden won, but they didn't care and they wanted to keep Trump in there because they just didn't like Joe Biden.
Yes.
You believe that?
Yes, I believe that,
Okay.
which is why you're already selling merch that says Trump 2028, because you don't care about laws or an order. You care about the propaganda, and that is all you believe. And you want to continue with that. Because if that was true and you cared about law and order, then you wouldn't be buying that merch, right?
I've not bought any of that merch. I'm not, whatever. Like, what I find very interesting is the whole point that part of what that day was, there was a hashtag called Stop the Steal. The whole point, this is like way like reversal projection. Like you must have been trained in this. Like their whole point was they thought that the election was being stolen from Trump. Now, you can agree or disagree that that's true. But I believe that's what they genuinely thought.
And you can believe that as well, but the facts are facts.
They were trying to prevent the stealing of an election.
And you can believe what you would like, but facts are facts.
Yeah, but your mind.
Yeah, but facts are facts.
Right. You're saying that they knew.
Is this guy running for office?
Trump lost, and what I'm telling you is they believed Trump won. So what you're saying isn't a fact. You're just assuming their mindset.
So they weren't certified? They weren't trying to stop certifying the election votes? Yes, that's what they were doing.
They thought they were preventing the certification of a fraudulent election.
But there was no evidence that it was.
Is that why so many of those people aren't saying anything about the gerrymanders now? Because they want to protect our elections suddenly? Get out of here with that, man.
Yeah, literally.
All right, Alexandria, go ahead and ask the
It's
question.
an insurrection because they were trying to interfere with the constitutional peaceful transfer of power. That is, they were trying to interfere with the lawful government of your country. That is why it's an insurrection. A riot is something different. You can invade as many federal buildings as you want, but if you're not trying to overthrow the government, it's not an insurrection. They were trying to overthrow the legal government.
Kelvin,
Yeah,
I love you, man. You're always speaking the truth. My question is, how would you navigate, and I've unfortunately felt this a lot helping a couple of progressives up here, how are you going to navigate the complex Gordian knot that is inter-party politics within the Democrats? I don't know how it is for you down there, but I know up here, the Lake County Democrat establishment is very much behind the people like Laura Fine and Brad Schneider and Sean Casten. And they really push hard against any sort of progressive angle and stuff. So how would you navigate that in your seat and area?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's what I'm navigating now. I'm not the established candidate. I don't want to be. I'm not part of the establishment. I think we've seen time and time again that the establishment does let us down. Like I said, I'm not owned by any special interest group or money. I am just for the working people. I don't answer to anyone. I answer to the people. And that's what I will continue to do. Have an open door policy, continue to door knock, and have events to continuously hear from my constituents. Also having a robust constituent service department as well, I think is very important to continue, having an independent voice from everyone else.
Okay, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, just to be clear, the police officers and federal agents who died around January 6th, they died several days after the insurrection, if you call it that, not during the insurrection. So you just called Ashley Babbitt a traitor. She was not only not a Republican, she was a libertarian. She was also unarmed. We usually reserve the word traitor for people who have sworn allegiance to a foreign country. Now, she swore allegiance to an administration that didn't win. Number one, which country did she swear allegiance to that makes her deserve to be called a traitor? And second, do you think that everyone who was present at January 6th should have been called a traitor and executed?
Yeah,
No, but as a military member who had to go clean up that mess, who she tried to hurt, who is also friends with a police officer who they tried to kill that day, that is traitor behavior. I don't know how you can defend someone who was hurting a police officer who had to scream out, I have kids, and that would be okay with you. And yes, the police officers died later, but because it was so traumatic. But that blood is still on their hands.
I don't think
And no,
Babbitt was
I don't
trying to
think
kill anyone.
anyone, and no, and I do not think that anyone should be murdered. That's definitely not what I said.
Me neither. That's why I'm against the murder of Ashley Babbitt. She didn't have a gun. Why did the insurrectionists forget to bring their guns if it was a real insurrection?
I mean, because they were using everything else. They were using flagpoles. They were trying to stab people. They were trying to reach for the police officers' weapons.
There were a few that had guns on January 6th, but they were smart enough not to use them.
Should they have all been executed as traitors?
yes.
Again, I said no, they should not be executed. I don't think anyone should be executed.
Why do you call them traitors? That's reserved for people who swore allegiance to a foreign country. They didn't do that.
Because just because you swear to a foreign country does not make you solely not a traitor.
I don't
Okay,
even know what that means.
Next.
All right, Charlie, go ahead.
Yes, it's been a while, but I believe the 13th district included a neighborhood called Uptown, which was and had some other very serious pockets of poverty. Now, perhaps there's been gentrification, but isn't addressing issues of severe poverty still prevalent within the 13th, or has that changed a little bit?
No, it's still very much prevalent. We have a lot of amazing transitional housing nonprofits, but they definitely need help. We have a big issue with zoning. The city is stopping a lot of zoning that can help and house a lot more people. Also, the 13th district is known in the nation for a mental health crisis. And instead of investing and growing that program, they've defunded it. We've also lost a lot of funding in the mobile mental health crisis van or care system, which would also allude and add to that issue. So no, we definitely still have those issues that need to be addressed.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, go. Good. Okay. We got some more questioners. Go ahead.
Your views on free speech, and do you carve out an exception for free speech for something you call hate speech?
I mean, like, what do you mean? Where are you going?
So do you believe in free speech? And if so, do you think that hate speech does not count as free speech?
I believe in free speech, but that does not mean that free speech does not have accountability with it.
What does accountability mean?
If you would say something inappropriate and evil and hateful, I would expect your job to fire you.
What if you work for the government?
Same thing.
So you can expect government reprisals for speech that you deem inappropriate and hateful. That doesn't sound like free speech to me.
That's not what I said, number one. And number two,
logical entailment.
I mean, you keep stretching for things.
Oh no.
So like I said, I believe in freedom of speech, but that does not mean if you say something disgusting or hateful that you will not have repercussions from your job place or from where you live or from the people who surround you. So you can have freedom of speech to say what you wish, but that also does not give that you also are going to be looked at that way. So if you want to continue to say vile things, you should expect vile things to come back after you, which is we've seen time and time again when people are mean and say hateful things, that their buildings don't want them to live there anymore, that their friends don't want to associate with them anymore, and their jobs don't want them to work there because essentially you are a component of that job or that company.
So if I'm a tenant and I say something vile and hateful, would that be just cause for the landlord to evict me?
I mean, that's not in the clause.
Do you think it should be?
I mean, it could be.
Do you think it should be?
No.
Okay, that's good. Appreciate it.
Okay, Alexandria, go ahead.
Can you promise me that you will not endorse Brad Schneider during any Democratic primaries if he faces
Yes, yes, of course, I can promise you that.
My God, every Democrat and their mama's endorsing him. Everyone, even people like, not to throw people under the bus, but Holly Kim, I'm looking at you, promising on one hand that like she's going to support the divestment campaign, but also getting Brad's endorsement. I know Brad well enough to know either one, he thinks she's lying with that endorsement, or two, just something's, or he doesn't know, or something like that, because those two things don't add up. You can't unironically be supporting state divestment from Israel and getting Brad's endorsement. So thank you for that.
I definitely agree with you.
Okay, Dan, Weinberg, Samantha, Michael, Ellen, any of you guys got questions? Okay, Ellen, go ahead.
Okay. All right. I guess my what do you think about this process of fundraising and endorsements? I mean, do you feel like that there's any kind of rigging or anything of the system against? I mean, yeah. What's been your experience on that?
Yeah.
And
No, sorry, you go. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess, and I'm concerned about. So I used to be Green. Now I'm Democrat. Really kind of independent, and the difficulty of being a genuine independent type person in this world. So that's why I'm running as a Democrat. But one of my concerns about the Democratic Party is that there are all these CIA people running. And so, I mean, does it seem funny to you that there is so much, your background's military, that there's so much kind of CIA? What's your feeling about the CIA and whether they should be in office?
I mean, I actually haven't thought about that now that you say that. I did notice that a lot more veterans have been running this cycle than I've seen in a while. But I do think at the end of the day that money is too big in politics. I think we should take money out of politics. I think that's when it gets corrupt and messy. And as you said on endorsements, like, yes, I think the same people are backing the same people. And that's why we never get anything done. That's why we never move forward. As younger generations come in, endorsements don't really mean anything, or don't really mean what they used to mean before. I don't spend a lot of time on endorsements talking about endorsements with people, because I believe that it should be on my record of what I've done for the community and my vision for the future and how great we can be. Not really piggybacking off someone I worked for 10, 15 years ago. So no, I definitely understand that struggle. So
have you always been a Democrat? Has that been your background? Mm-hmm.
I was actually raised Republican, even though my mom was from Mexico. And then when I went to college and started like going down rabbit holes of why things were not the best, then I was like, oh, and I kind of switched over, and now I'm much more left than a Democrat.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, Michael McCune, we haven't heard from you yet. Please hit unmute and show yourself so we know who you are, and you're up next. Okay, Michael, unmute and you're up next. Michael McCune, you're up.
Hello, hi, this is Ellen, and I wanted to ask, the top, some of the very top AI researchers in the world, like the father of AI, and top CEOs in the top tech CEOs like Elon Musk and Sam Altman, they think there's a significant chance of human extinction from the development of artificial general intelligence. And right now, not only is the Trump administration not regulating it, but they're preventing states. He's trying to prevent states from regulating AI. So what do you think about this issue? And do you think the government should be regulating AI and trying to prevent the development of artificial general intelligence until these companies can prove that it is safe?
I do think that there should be regulations around AI, especially as we see Gronk is making, sexual pictures of people, and they look very real. And unfortunately, if you have Facebook, you know how dangerous AI can be. I think there should be regulation around it. And I believe that those people need to be paying taxes as well for how much money that they are making from it.
Okay, any other questions there or not?
Joe's got something.
All right, Joe, go ahead, please. Joe,
Demi,
you're up.
yeah, Demi, you said you would promise not to support Brad Schneider. Can you tell us some of the things that you're opposed to that Brad Schneider supports?
He supports Israel. And that's enough for me. He sends our money over to Israel to harm Palestinian communities and people. I do not agree with that.
All right, thank you.
That's one point of agreement.
Glad we agree.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll ask one.
go ahead, Ellen.
Do you think the Democratic Party is packing the ballots with people that support Israel? If so, who, else? I mean, as a trend, that's, 98% of Congress, I know, is got taken AIPAC. I'm going against Quigley. I know he's got 250,000 and a lot of, I don't even know who the other people are, but how can we stop that, the effect? Any ideas on how we can stop this? And, the party taking, I don't know. I think the party both parties seem to be pushing Israel. What can we do?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, money at the end of the day is the root of all of that. Like I said, I want to take money out of politics. I don't think that we should be able to invest also. Like elected officials shouldn't be able to have stock, shouldn't be tipped off. And I mean, what we can do about that, that is like the big fight right now, obviously, right? I mean, I would sign under the BDS bill. But I mean, this is going to be an uphill battle for a really long time, especially how much propaganda is out there and how much money. And I'm shocked at how much money is going through other organizations as well. I don't want to name any organizations, but Israel instead is sending money to third-party organizations, and then that is getting to the candidates as well. So that is a huge red flag of washing money that I think we also need to pay attention to.
What is the BDS bill? I haven't heard of that.
Mm-hmm. So it's right now, you're technically not allowed to boycott Israel. Like if you don't want to shop somewhere, like if you have an app on your phone, I think it's like Buy Good Profit or something like that. If you want to boycott them, you essentially can't. It's like illegal. And they're sending our money to Israel to help them. Essentially, they're getting a stipend every month. The counter argument is that it's just our pension money, but I don't think that's a counter argument. Then why don't we send the pension money to Mexico? It's frowned upon both sides. So I would sign on to the bill. I think that you should be able to protest however you would like to protest, especially with your own money.
Yeah. And what do you think about these bills? I think Illinois is probably one that has put into the Constitution that anti-Zionism is different from is anti-Semitism, right? Have you heard about that? What do you? Is there a way to? I think maybe at the state level, maybe we could stop that, And how can the Congress and the states work together? If I mean, it doesn't seem like much is being done through the Democratic Party, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, the city also just put something in similar as well. I mean, I am very against the Israeli government. But at the same time, I do want to make sure that our Jewish friends are protected at the same time. So I think hearing from them as well is very important. I have a large synagogue in the district, but also like I said, I do want to take money out of special interest money out of politics completely.
Do you think that anti-Zionism
Hey, come
is
on, Nick.
anti-Semitism? I'm
Nick.
just asking. Do you think that? I don't.
No.
Right. And you don't think so either. It's the same thing. And so it shouldn't be in our constitution or the state constitution, right? Would you agree that
All
it
right,
should not
Charlie.
be in there? Mm-hmm.
All right, Charlie, go ahead.
Yes, Dima, do you have difficulty at times answering questions that pertain to the federal government, which has nothing to do with it being a state representative from Illinois, that people don't understand government?
Charlie, repeat your question. She didn't
Do
quite
you
understand.
have some difficulty dealing with people who don't understand the difference between the federal government and the General Assembly of the state of Illinois?
No, because it's such a fine line, and to where sometimes I even am like, why can't we do this? Oh, well, it's not a state issue, or vice versa. And I think the conversations are important to figure out what's important to people and then how we go forward and fix it. Also, if it's important to somebody on a federal level, how can we mimic that on a statewide level?
Okay. All right.
Okay. On your website, it says that you support trans-inclusive healthcare. What is that? What does that mean?
Trans inclusive healthcare can be anything from PrEP to gender affirming care to mental health.
What is gender affirming care?
Everything is gender affirming care, from Botox to medicine to augmentation. Almost everything can be considered gender affirming care. I get gender affirming care.
All right. Okay. Does gender affirming care, does that include like surgical interventions to remove genitals or add prosthetic genitals?
Yes.
It does.
Yes.
Okay. A separate question. What do you think the age of consent for sexual contact with adults should be?
What the age of sexual contact with children?
What should the age of consent be for someone to engage in sexual activity with an adult?
18.
It should be 18. So below 18, it should not be allowed. It should be against the law.
Yes.
Why?
Because they're minors,
Okay.
and I don't think that you should want to touch minors.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Should minors under the age of 18 be able to decide to have surgical interventions to remove or add prosthetic genitals?
So most minors actually don't get gender affirming surgical care.
I'm not asking how many do. I'm asking, should they be able to, in a way that minors are not allowed to consent to sexual activity?
I think that if someone wants to do that, they have the right to do that.
Interesting. So sexual contact with adults is prohibited, but irreversibly surgically altering their mutilating bodies is perfectly okay for minors to do, but sexual contact with adults isn't.
Because the reason that it's mainly illegal is because of older people who are hurting children, not because of anything else. So the fact that you want to keep asking about children's genitals is a little worrisome.
I want to preserve children's genitals. You seem to be okay.
I don't know why you
children.
keep asking.
I'm surprised you're okay with Frankenstein surgeons taking genitals off of children in the name of gender affirming care. I think that's way
trans surgery is actually
These are uncomparable thing. Gender dysphoria will kill people if it's not attended to. Not having sex won't kill you.
Oh, is this that 47% figure you're talking about?
No, if you actually listen to what I said, I told you gender dysphoria, when untreated, will kill you. Therefore, there's a reasonable argument to make that even if you're under 18, since this thing could kill you, you should address it. But not having sex isn't something that's going to kill you. Therefore, you can't make the same argument. So your equation.
I also want to add that you're perfectly
Also-
fine with a woman getting breast augmentation at 17, 18, and you didn't mention that, but you just want to mention and go against the trans community.
You're right. He didn't mention that. How do you know he thinks that?
Also, the age of consent is exactly what it says. It is the age of consent. It is not the age when you can have sex. You can have sex with the consent of your parents. You can have surgery with the consent of your parents.
All right, Calvin,
At a time, old man.
let's keep it down. I know.
If you would have asked me if I support minors getting breast augmentation surgery, I would have told you no. I don't.
Let's move on.
I just don't want you to keep talking about minors' genitals.
Yeah,
I
come
want
on.
doctors to stop removing children's genitals.
Tim.
I'll stop. Tell you what, I'll stop talking about it when Frankenstein
Tim.
stop removing.
I know that.
Gender affirming care.
Okay, let's
Don't try to turn it around like, oh, I'm some
Tim.
weirdo being obsessed with
Charlie.
children's genitals. Like,
I love when
Hey,
people that don't know things think they have
I'm going to
talk.
always defend gender affirming care.
yeah,
Okay.
removing children's genitals.
all right.
Good
Let's
job.
I understand. All right, guys, we got to move on. On a little bit of a different subject, I have seen. I've been a member of Toastmasters for well over maybe 25 years. Where did you pick up your ability to speak and have all these rapid fire answers to questions? I'm just significantly impressed with your ability to how you can debate these guys and such things, especially in an environment like this where you're just getting rapid fire questions, short answers, and everything else. Was there a process you went through? Were you debating in high school? I'd just like to know a little bit about the background of how you developed the skill.
I'm in the military, and so there are some MAGA people there that I think that's probably where they just all come at you. Otherwise, I've just kind of been thrown into public speaking. My campaign manager and I were talking earlier that it has gotten a lot better. Before I hated it and I would panic, and now I'm just like, well, here we go.
Yeah, because
All right, let's go.
all right, thank you. All right, we're gonna take a few more questions, and I think we'll get into rebuttal.
No.
But
Let's
Ellen,
go.
go ahead.
Yep. I've heard that in other states they always have a publicly developed candidate guide before the primaries. But in Illinois, we don't do that. There's no one, government created candidate guide. Would you be supportive of something like that being developed before the primaries?
And when you say candidate guide, do you mean of like how to run for office, or?
Oh, it's like when the voters go the day, they have a booklet that gives the background of each candidate so they can decide who they want to vote for and if they even want to go to the primary.
Yes, I do think that should be on the background. I've also even talked with several elected officials on how we can add that into the voting. Like when you go vote and it says their name, like the candidate's name, should also say maybe a brief background. We find that would probably help people as well be able to identify who it is. Because, sometimes when you get in there and you see the long list of judges, you may have forgotten if you didn't bring your own list.
Right. Where would you go where do you think, one, I think we need it before the primary. I think the problem is the incumbents seem to always have the advantage. And are you going against an incumbent in this case? Who are you going against right now?
I'm not. It's an open seat. I'm going against 4 men.
Okay. And and so wouldn't it be nice if we had that as a ballot before the primaries? Thank you.
Let her finish.
Yeah,
No,
I think it would be helpful. I do see it also. I think as long as it's a bio and it's very, factual and straight to the point, I think that is important. I do think it gets a little skewed when, a certain party has their own guideline and people just go by that to keep in the establishment. So I can see both sides on that.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, good follow up.
Ellen, let's Michael McEwen, which is Ellen, please go ahead.
Okay, yes. So my question is, as of a few years ago, there was a law in Illinois that if a minor and a second person were like involved in a crime like a robbery, and they rob a home, and the homeowner shoots and kills one of them, the other minor is considered guilty of murder. I forgot what the name of that law is, and I was wondering whether you support that law.
I would not support that law. I've seen several similar laws in Southern Illinois where, someone went to go rob a store, and then, there was 3 teenagers that had talked about it earlier that day, and the other 2 teenagers are also in jail to this day. I think that there needs to be a lot of reform around laws like that. I feel like it's super racist of most of those outdated laws by now, and we should reformat all of them.
Okay, Ellen Corley, you're up next, and let's try to keep the interruptions down. So go ahead, Ellen.
Let's keep
related to that. Well, and Charlie mentioned he thought there's a separation between federal and state, but maybe some of these things, if it's federal law, it could be state law. And one question is, why in our state you have to go in and either you take the Republican ballot or the Democratic ballot in the primary, whereas in Georgia you can take either one. Would you be supportive of changing that process?
Yeah, I would definitely be supportive in changing that process.
Right. And I don't know how we do it unless we do it at the federal level and control it. What about that other, these other kind of election reform, like ranked choice voting, and maybe that's done at the state level, or?
Yeah, and I'm very for ranked choice voting. I think it would actually help a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, who else has questions?
I could ask 5 more, but I'll ask 1.
Go ahead.
Do white lives matter?
Yes, white lives matter.
Right. You know what? I shortchanged in my mind. I shortchanged you on the amount of credit I was willing to give, but because I noticed that when I didn't know what you were after until, after that was done, where, I said BLM and you asked me what BLM was. You weren't unaware of what BLM was. You were probably thinking like I didn't want to say the words Black Lives Matter, so somehow I didn't think Black Lives Matter or something like that. So, obviously I'm somebody who thinks all lives matter, but I'm told saying all lives matter is racist. So I'm glad that you agree that white lives matter, Black lives matter, everybody's lives matter. Except for traitors.
Okay.
Traitors' lives don't matter.
Okay, Ernie, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm not always sure about the technology. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would like to apologize to our speaker. I got in late because I have been watching the live coverage of all the people involved in the shooting. I guess you're all aware that another person was killed in Minneapolis this morning by the ICE agents that were there. And Noam was there not apologizing, but attempting to take the blame away from them entirely. And as is the habit up there, the Minnesota Bureau of Investigation was denied even getting into the site to investigate themselves. Only the feds are there investigating the site. And then they came back with a warrant from a judge and they still wouldn't let them in. So it's just a bad scene up there. My question does relate to that. I know this is not a federal matter, or not a state matter. It's a federal matter. But how do you feel about the things that ICE have been doing in various places? And as much as you don't necessarily have a lot of power on the state level, what would you try and do to get the situation handled and yet control yet keep immigration reasonably legal.
Yeah, I think what ICE has been doing is disgusting and very illegal. I went through the police academy, where you are taught that anything over 3 rounds is going to be excessive and you're going to go to jail. So the fact that they can unload multiple clips in one person who is unarmed and laying on the ground and clearly not a threat is apprehensible, and it's murder. On the state level, I would like to have protections for immigrants and migrants. And also, I would like to hold ICE accountable. Like I said, these are illegal orders, or they can do whatever they want and run rampant. There's no repercussions for them, and all the things they're doing, they're running into other cars and they just leave. Like, these are ruining people's lives on multiple levels, even the families that they're tearing apart. And I mean, so they need to be held accountable. And then we don't really have a pathway. We want to keep talking about these people are quote unquote illegal, but they are doing it the correct way. And they're not going after criminals, like they said. Only 10% of people in ICE custody right now have committed a crime. You're not going through the domestic violence list. You're not going to jails. You're going to work sites, because you're making these people who are struggling become legal slaves. And that's what's going on at the end of the day.
Okay, Kelvin, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is not for the lady. It was for the man that asked about do white lives matter. I would like to ask him, do white lives matter if they're shot by ICE?
What did he say?
He wants to know, you back here,
Oh, yeah.
do white lives matter if they are shot by ICE?
Oh, do white lives matter if they are shot by ICE? I mean, yeah, they do.
Well, that's funny because I haven't seen any All Lives Matter on any of those protests at all. Remarkably absent from all of the protests against Rennie Good shooting.
Wait, say that again. What's been?
I have not seen any All Lives Matter placards in any of the protests against the Rennie Good shooting. You've been remarkably noticeable by their absence.
Wow. Would you be this worked up over Ashley Babbitt? Does her life matter just as much as...
No, because she had no business being there.
Oh, she didn't have any business being there. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, there was a fucking scaffold outside behind my
you don't have any business being there by your own logic. Her life, by your logic.
Okay.
I'm not
This
saying
is supposed to be question and answer to the speaker, not a debate.
Right to be on the streets. Ashley Babbitt has no right to be
Can
in
the
the House of
moderator
Congress.
take control of the discussion,
No,
please?
I was letting them go for a couple of minutes, and I think they both shut down. Now, you joined us late. You got a question. Go ahead, Jake. Jake, you're up next. You got a question. Please go.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for your talk. What are the boundaries of your district? I think I'm in the district.
Oh, perfect. It starts literally in the middle of Wrigleyville, and then goes up north, Uptown, Andersonville, Edgewater, Ravenswood, and a little bit of Lincoln Square as well. I have a
I'm like north of Lincoln. I'm like about a mile north of Lincoln Square.
It depends on your cross streets, because there is a little bit of a weird arm that goes out. If you go on to demiforillinois.com, I have a map on my website.
I'm basically near Lincoln and Bryn Mawr.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. Could you get me your contact information?
It's on the website, Jake. I'll give it to you later, okay?
Okay, thanks. All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Joe, you're next. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the lively discussion. I disagree with a lot of what you're saying. I also agree with what a lot of you're saying. You said you don't agree with what ICE is doing. Do you think ICE should be abolished or reformed?
Abolished.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, I've got some more questions. What are your views on the border, border reform, the role of ICE and Border Patrol? The reason I ask is because most of my Republican friends forget about what happened in 1987 with their amnesty under Reagan. And I'd like to know your views on what's going on with this.
Yeah.
What you would propose.
I mean,
I'm just
and I'm sure that your Republican friends have also forgotten that how many military members
been deported already.
Have been deported, number one, and then also who are currently serving our country. We use it as a recruiting tool to get people papers, them and their family. So that's very important to note with them. Also, how many of their spouses are, right? Because we have a lot of bases in other countries. They bring them here, or their kids were born there, and we bring them here, and they are getting deported as well. So, but yeah, if I was given the order to go to the border, I would also not do that. I didn't agree with what was happening on the border. It's been traumatic for a lot of people who have gone, and the excessive force there was also really wild. But unfortunately, when it's just military members, like they're not going to get a lot of coverage like people are getting right now, like of civilians recording.
I think maybe what I'm really asking is what kind of reforms would you put in to get immigration legal and to secure our borders? I'm just asking what you would propose as reforms to the current system we have, because I know it's broken now.
Yeah, it's not only broken, I mean, it's not working at all. I mean, I have been trying with my family to get papers for 4 or 5 years, and it's been $40,000. And that's with my privileges of the military and in politics. A friend who I have who is letting me use her story as well. It's been 9 years of trying to get papers, $80,000 later. They actually last month were able to go to the consulate in Mexico, because I don't know if you are aware of this, of how you get your papers, is you have to go through this long process, pay at least $1,000 every 3 to 6 months, which is extraneous. And then when you finally get approved, years and years later, we don't know how long that process is. It's between 2 and 15 years right now, and 2 is not accurate. You then have to go to Mexico and live there, and then maybe be welcomed back. So the family went there after 9 years and $80,000, and they were there for a month, going back and forth to the consulate multiple times. You're also not allowed to work there, obviously. He was approved because they've been legally married for how long? They have all of the questions that they asked, they were able to answer. They have all the pictures and the marriage certificate. They ask insanely vile questions to make sure it is legitimate, a marriage that is legit. And he was approved, and when they got on the plane or got to the airport to get back to the country, they said that he was not approved and he had to go back. So there is no system, right? How many people who have visas right now or had visas, and now they're saying that they don't have visas? I mean, we need a total reform of everything. And how expensive it is, that's not attainable.
Okay, I was just curious. All right. Still didn't quite answer my question, but I do appreciate. I'm going to move on. Ernie, go ahead, please.
Yeah, one more question with regard, I think, to your answer to Joe. You said you would abolish ICE. How would you handle the issue of improperly documented people in the United States? Not the borders. The borders are a different issue. The people who are already here and they're undocumented. How would you deal with that?
I mean, so people who are now undocumented or who now no longer have visas or now longer have their green cards, they're taxpayers. They have an ITIN number and they pay taxes. If you give them a pathway and you make it easy, they're going to follow the rules. But when you make it excessive and insane and expensive and you make it out of touch for every single person, that's when it goes awry. I mean, and ICE, I don't know why anyone thinks that we need ICE. It's relatively new. It was based to be on racism, and none of them are trained. It's not like
they are trained.
Yeah. They're not trained.
They cut the training way back, but they are trained.
They are not trained.
Well, they used to get. I heard the numbers here. Several months of training, and they've cut it back to about 2.5 months.
And they used AI the last 8 months in order to put them into training, and AI did it or incorrectly, and instead of them going to training, they just put them out the first day. So I think it's like what, 80,000 are out there who have never even held a weapon, and they gave them a gun and they walked out the door.
Well, I'm sure there's some of that.
All right, Jake, you got another question? Okay, just give me a second to open this. Okay, God damn. Jake, do you have another question? Okay, never mind. All right. Go ahead, Jake. You just had your hand lowered. Go ahead. Jake,
Okay.
unmute.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, I got a couple of questions. What would you do differently than the incumbent state rep, number one, and number two, what would you do to lower utility rates? Utility rates tend to be very high in this state.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to speak more with constituents. Like I said, have open door, have a really robust constituent service team to always know what's going on. And to make sure that I'm there for every community, not just one community, and favor things like that. I would like to spread that wealth. I think that everyone deserves a seat at the table.
Okay, Joe, you're next. Go ahead. Joe, you're next.
All right, I was unmuting myself. So, do you have any opponents in the Democratic primary besides Nikki Budzinski? And whether you do or you don't, could you tell us about your opponents and why you think you'd be a better candidate than them?
Wait. So I'm not running there. I'm running in Chicago, the state house. So I'm not running against Nikki. I'm running against. No, it's okay. It's okay. Everyone gets it confused. Literally everyone, even the newspapers, even the pollsters. Actually, I saw yesterday. But no, I am the working class candidate. I've been working since I was 14. I'm from an immigrant family. I had to join the military to make my pathway out of poverty. And I've been in the community. I know what our community needs. I talk with our community. I know what it's like to struggle if I'm going to pay rent or groceries. And that's very much our district. My opponents come from very nice luxurious backgrounds, and I think that maybe they are not in tune or in touch with our district or the common person.
Okay, Jake, and then we'll go to Ellen under the Michael McHugh name. Jake, go ahead, unmute and try again.
Okay, you didn't answer my second question. What would you do to lower utility rates? Utility rates are very high in the state.
Yeah, there's a lot that we can do to lower utility rates. Unfortunately, one of my opponents voted to raise the utility rates. Also, how much water we are losing to AI is also spiking that. And like I said earlier, we can have a cap on adding that, like a 2 to 3%. It shouldn't be going up. I'm sure your bill went up, what was it, like double this last couple months? There's a lot of regulation that we can be doing over that. And then there's a lot of third parties that are coming in who are also trying to regulate that, but it is a monopoly, and we need to break a lot of the monopolies that we have. Essentially, at the end of the day, it all goes back to money and capitalism.
Okay, Ellen, under the Michael McHugh name, this will be the last question. So go ahead.
I don't know if you addressed this already, but I'm wondering what you would want to do about healthcare in Illinois. I mean, right now in 2027, they're going to put work requirements for the federal government. Going to put work requirements for Medicaid. Also, for the marketplace insurance, of course, they have refused to approve the greater subsidies that make healthcare at all reasonable and affordable. What do you think we could do in Illinois to, I'm personally somebody who is affected by this. I am on Obamacare, and it's very scary and threatening. Well, what can we do?
Yeah. In my district alone, we've lost our third hospital in 6 years. So if there's an emergency and they've shut down the city, which happens 5 out of 7 days a week, the next hospital we have is in Skokie, about 25 minutes away. That, as you know, that's life threatening. Also, I'm on TRICARE. So with that, usually my copay is $20. This last week it was $240 with all of the cuts that have been going in this administration. There's a lot of progressive revenues that we can be doing to help Medicaid and Medicare, like I spoke earlier with the Rifle Act. Obviously, finding progressive revenue streams is very important to me. Thinking outside the box is important to me, and being creative on how we can fund these things that we deserve. But I also do want to note that we can find so much more money for ICE and for overtime and police department who are assisting ICE, but we can't find that money for helping our people. That doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. I'd like to say thank you very much for coming tonight. I know we've had 2 people in the audience, but obviously our people on Zoom went well. Everybody give her a hand, unmute and clap, please.
Thank you.
Now sit down. We're going to go into rebuttals next. And I'm going to give everybody about 5 minutes. Remember, you will get the last word. Sit back. If you want to get something to eat or a cup of coffee, I will take care of it for both of you. So, you know, that's up to you if you want anything, but I will be more than happy to put a little bit of expense for that stuff. And now we're going to go into rebuttals. I've got one planned, but I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. So if you got rebuttals, I'm going to go online first, unless you want to go first. All right.
Go online first.
Let me go online and we'll get the rebuttal. So we'll take it from here. Okay. Alexandria, we're going to let you go first. You got 5 minutes.
Can someone go first right before me? I'm just heating up some tea real quick, and I'll be ready in a minute.
All right, Jake, you want to go next? Remember, this is rebuttal time, not question. I'm going to lower your hand and go ahead, Jake.
Okay. I had another question for you. My question is real
It's
simple.
rebuttal time.
Well,
Jake,
wait. I'm sorry. I had a question. This will
Jake,
take
it's rebuttal time now, not
Hey,
questions.
hey! Don't argue with me. This will take
I'm
me.
rejecting
This will
you,
take me
Jake.
two.
I'm
This will
sorry.
take me 2 minutes. Don't argue with me.
Who's got the rebuttals next? Alexandria, Jake was going. He wasn't.
I'll go.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
heard.
Jake.
I heard. I'll give mine off the cuff.
All right, then Charlie, you'll go
We
after
should be
Alexandria.
very particular with our comparisons. I've heard some interesting comparisons of events just off the cuff, and there have been some categorical errors that I've been noticing as a pattern. January 6th and the George Floyd stuff, under 18 trans healthcare and under 18 sex. I spoke at the College of Complexes before for 2.5 hours, took questions and everything, just comparing 3 historical events, because it takes that long. It takes thousands of words to compare different points at history and to make a cohesive argument for what a common theme is. So one of the common reasons that there's been so much argument about those points is the fact that they're just thrown out there. But these are deep, complex points. And when you constantly just say, oh, this is like that. Oh, these groups are terrorists. Oh, this is just like that. It takes hours to debunk it when you're just throwing crap on the wall effectively. Thank you.
All right, Charlie, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to thank the candidate in several respects. Number one, for your civic participation in running for office. That's commendable. Thank you for your service to the nation in uniform. And thirdly of all, thank you for handling some of the questions here tonight. The 13th district is certainly a unique one among the ones in Illinois. It has extreme diversity within it, from densely urban packed to, as I indicated earlier, some extreme instances of poverty. I commend your support for controlling weapons, gun control, of which I've worked for many years, as well as your support for those in the mental health community who need for mental health, which seems to be not given a priority. I'd like to apologize if some of my colleagues don't comprehend the difference between the federal, state, and local levels of government and what responsibilities the elected officials have at those various levels. Nevertheless, it looks like you put together, I follow this, a viable campaign of which you should have some measure of pride in that regard. Putting together a viable campaign, I've witnessed many candidates who come forth, and I assure you, they don't have the capabilities, what can I say, the maturity to understand that running for office is a very complex endeavor. You've gotten support of some senior elected officials, such as Jan Sikowski, which is positive in your favor. Nevertheless, I wish you the best of luck in the campaign, and thank you for coming to the College of Complexes.
Who's the next rebuttal?
I'll go. I don't know if Tim's in the room. Can I go?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I joined late. So sorry, Demi, that it took me so long to figure out you're running for a state office, not a federal one. I agree with your opposition to Brad Schneider. I've been criticizing him for years. I actually ran against him twice, I think. I agree with your opposition to AIPAC and Israel, and I agree with abolishing ICE. I disagree that Ashley Babbitt was a traitor, but I've made that clear, so I'm not going to go over that again. I noticed that nobody asked about vaccines. That's because Charlie and YouTube don't allow that topic to be discussed here, so I'm not going to discuss that further, maybe after we adjourn. I disagree with you that free speech should mean accountability. I believe that freedom means freedom from consequences. 99% of the so-called private companies that could fire people for their speech receive some sort of public subsidy. So they should be subject to the Bill of Rights, as should government employers. They're public because they receive public money. About Vic and the landlord question and squatting, not all tenants are suffering solely from unreasonable rent increases. Some of them never get on the lease and never pay anything at all. I know a family who's dealing with a tenant who owes $27,000, hasn't paid a penny, and she actually gets more rights from not having signed the lease than if she had signed the lease. Not all landlords are rich. Some landlords are poor and are renting out part of their own homes, what used to be their own homes, and they take on tenants because landlords want to avoid losing those homes. We have I'm in Washington now, but some tenants are driving landlords into poverty. Not that I love all landlords, not that they're all poor by any means. And I have to push back on what Alexandria said. Sorry, I agree with Alexandria on 99% because we're both in the Green Party. The claim that most minors don't get genital surgery, most trans minors don't get genital surgery. That's true. I don't disagree with that. But people aren't objecting to surgery on minors being done rarely. They object to it being done at all. The German singer Kim Petras got genital surgery at age 16. And in America, Jazz Jennings got genital surgery at age 17 in Florida, where the age of consent is 18. So it's not only being done, they made a TV show out of it. There are teens getting their breasts removed at 13. There's boys getting hormone injections and coaxed through injections while screaming with pain at age 11. There are formerly transgender teens like Chloe Cole who are turning 18 and then becoming activists against minors transitioning. You don't have to cut into someone with a scalpel to affirm their gender. Gender is not about appearance. That's what the transgender movement taught us 10 years ago, and they kind of changed their minds. I disagree with the claim that gender dysphoria will kill you. The studies that claim that most gender questioning people who don't get treatment end up killing themselves don't include three very important groups of people. One, the people who died because they began to transition and realized they went too far, have a low voice, can't raise their voice, can't scream, which makes them easier to attack, and don't look male or female. Two, people who killed themselves because they want to detransition and doctors had no plan to detransition them. And three, people who died shortly after receiving surgery, like a young man named Yarden Silvera, who died at age 20 or so after his intestines filled out his neo-vagina. There are a lot of people who don't. I don't think I should pay for this. I agree with Vic that it is a Frankenstein type of surgery. I don't want to pay for anyone's breast augmentation. And sorry, Demi, but it frankly strikes me as sexist of you to assume that Vic will support taxpayer money being used for boob jobs just because Vic is a man. And I don't support any form of medically unnecessary surgery that could threaten someone's lives. And kids can't understand. They don't have the foresight to understand all the negative consequences that could come from getting surgery at a young age. Adults should be able to do it all they want. But if someone objects to their taxpayer money being used for that, for any reason, maybe one of the reasons is they're concerned that a patient could die, like Yarden Silvera did. I think part of consent means that you don't tax people to pay for unnecessary procedures that could kill someone. But I appreciate your criticism of ICE because ICE is being trained by IDF and I'm against the IDF. So thanks for coming. Thanks for the lively discussion.
Hey, Ellen Corley, you're up next. You're up next, Ellen. You got 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. Demi, is it, or I've forgotten your name, but I really appreciate your positioning and your presentation. And, you know, if I was in your district, I would vote for you. I think it's great that we have women running. My reason for running is it's that, you know, I've been coming to this College of Complexes for about 10 years now. I found it through United for Democracy Now. I've met a couple of people, regulars here. And, you know, I'd also been involved with Refuse Fascism and the Chicago Alliance Against Racist Political Oppression. And you know, it's great to have a forum, but it's really, you know, over the last 10 years, really, since I tried being a political activist or organizer, I just see that it's a almost, you know, a game designed to give us complexes and keep us dysfunctional. You know, there's just these 4 parties that are, you know, divided, and it just seems that they're all kind of infiltrated with obsessiveness about issues that really shouldn't be. I mean, they're individual human rights to free to choose, you know, whether you want to be male or female, whether you want a surgery, whether you, it's just crazy that these are the issues that we've come down to. I think I really disagree with Charlie's contention that there's a difference between federal and state government. I think that's the problem, is that back under the 70s, under Nixon, that there was a plot by the Federalist Society that been run by oligarchs and foreign interests to push things to the state, you know, and it's been a great way to basically subvert our amendments, the Bill of Rights. I know this was intentional. My stepfather was part of this Heritage Foundation. He was brainwashed by them. I think he had autism like 30% of us have here in America now, largely because of various things that I think that were created by our Department of Defense, our biological warfare community. That's my biggest issue, is that they're trying to kill us, as Ryan Dawson said, that we need to say, stop killing us, but and stop, you know, bringing about this police state that was in the plan, Operation Gladio, starting after World War II or during World War II. We had this cabal of intelligence oligarchs, psychopaths, based in England, primarily the City of London, Rothschild, the Bank of International Settlements. The plan was to use the Cold War, to divide us. Actually, the bomb was had already by these same interests around Israel. Israel has had the bomb, since before Los Alamos and before Russia. and they want us divided. U.S., does U.S. get the bomb or does Russia get the bomb? Or, and to keep us in this forever divide and conquer. And then they throw in false terror attacks, false flag attacks like 9/11, like COVID, like the Kennedy assassination to keep us going. And now we see what we have now, which is the Fourth Reich. It is the police state. ICE is doing exactly what they planned for them to do. I'm so grateful that that you are aware and speaking out. We need all women, and all people who can understand the problem. I do think that women have a unique ability to do this. I never really, I was raised like you as a Republican family, very conservative, used to that. But it's, there's, I think feminism and anti-war and all these things that seem so left wing. I was like, I wish I came from a family like that. I wish I knew what this was about. And then now I said, I came out of the closet and became a Democrat, but they're more for war than I am. They've got us divided. The Dems get to have, we're for abortion rights. We're for immigration rights. We're for healthcare rights. We're for, taking care of people. That's why I'm there. But there's, that other side, that freedom, they've really done a great job of using that issue that we're not allowed to talk about to, pull people away from the Democrats. And so I'm now actively with the Indivisible group, the Northwest Suburbs Organizing for Action. And, I know that they really think that if we take away a vaccine, it's giving people cancer and stuff. And the other people are totally convinced if you give them, it causes cancer. I think we need free speech so that we can know what causes cancer, who's causing cancer. If it's our own government, our own Department of Defense, we have to, or another country that's, inserted itself into us, we have to get them out of here. And hopefully with no violence, just rationality. Maybe that'll come about with the fourth turning. Okay, thank you. That's all.
All right, Michael McCune or Ellen, if you're back there, go ahead. You're up.
Okay. Hi, this is Ellen.
Put yourself on video, please.
Okay. Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about AI. Billions of dollars are going into AI right now, and there's a race. The U.S. is trying to race with China to develop artificial general intelligence to see if we can develop it first. Now, what has gone on is that a top AI guy gave, my understanding is he gave Trump like billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars, so that Trump would not oppose AI. Yet the problem is that most top AI researchers and most the CEOs of the AI firms, they all believe that there is a significant chance of human extinction from artificial general intelligence. Now, humans are used to not thinking way in the future. They're used to just kind of thinking of the here and now and very short term. But I mean, there is definitely a chance that we could develop artificial general intelligence within the next 10 to 12 years, 10 to 15 years. Some of these tech people, the CEOs of tech firms, they're saying it'll be developed like by 2030, but it'll probably take longer than that. But if we want to, the time to address this problem is now. And we can, what the standard has to be is that these companies have to prove, they should have to prove that their AI models are safe and not going to threaten humans and that artificial general intelligence is not going to threaten humankind, they have to prove that before they can go and develop it. Right now, what's going on is that there's artificial intelligence models that are, if given a hypothetical model of either killing a human or being turned off, they are actually choosing to kill the human being in the hypothetical model. So this is a significant problem, a potential problem on the scale of a nuclear war, but it's getting very little attention. And I can only assume that the reason why it's not getting attention is because Zuckerberg is involved with AI, Musk is involved with AI. These major players and major media people, you know, are in the game to develop it themselves. So I think this is an important area. It needs to be researched. One thing is there is a podcast called Diary of a CEO, and I have been listening to it, and they've been talking about the dangers. There's an organization called Pause AI. There is an international alliance for safe and ethical AI. So I would advise people to investigate this and start getting involved. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jake, you got 5 minutes. Remember, this is rebuttal time, not questions.
All right. I'll try to keep it short. I'm in agreement with artificial intelligence that we need to regulate it. One of the regulations that I like to see is it uses up gobs of electricity and gobs of water. So the water, I don't think, is an issue here. Well, what is an issue is electricity. The AI data centers have to supply their own source of electricity in order to keep electric rates from going up for the rest of us, and possible electricity shortages, though I'm not sure that that's an issue. About Israel and Gaza, it's good that you're not taking money from AIPAC. However, you can take money from AIPAC and still not do everything that the current Israeli government wants. The problem is with the current Israeli government, not with Israel as a whole. I believe in a two-state solution, which means that both sides have to respect the other in order to come to some kind of livable compromise. And I think it's possible, but it'll be very difficult. What's the other issue I want to talk about? Yeah, we need housing reform. We need more affordable housing, and there's a move in the state to allow for rent control. Apparently, right now there's state law which blocks rent control. I'd like to see reforms that would allow for rent control and allow for other reforms in the landlord-tenant process, which would be more favorable towards renters. One other thing too, that one other speaker mentioned concerning trans people, I'm entirely in agreement with him that it should not be allowed for anyone under the age of 18, because 9 times out of 10, the person who's doing it, who's under 18, is not making his own decision. Someone's making the decision for him, number one. And number two, I don't think any taxpayer money should be spent on it, because, again, I'm in agreement with this previous speaker that it's not medically necessary. And people who do it should do it with their own money. If private insurance wants to pay for it, I guess that's their business. But there should not be any public money spent on it. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to give the final rebuttal tonight.
I got one too, though.
Okay, well, then you go ahead before me. Then.
All right, that's fine. All right, thanks. And thanks for being a reasonably good sport for taking all my questions. I've been here before with people of your more general progressive left-wing persuasion, and they have been much ruder than I had come to expect. So I appreciate that that was not the case today. It was contentious, but the disrespect level was to a minimum, and I appreciate that. So thank you for that. I have a bunch of rebuttals. One of the things about AI, by the way, I'm gonna give a plug for a book. I'm gonna give a plug for a book by philosophers Jobst Landgraber. If I pronounce that incorrectly, that's my fault. And Barry Smith. It's called Why Machines Will Never Rule the World, Artificial Intelligence Without Fear. And it's in its second edition. The first edition, I believe, was published like in early 2023. And the basic idea is that it's mathematically impossible for there to be AGI. I am not technical enough to have a firm opinion one way or the other on that. I think the more pressing situation is AI is nonetheless, whether it's self-aware or not, going to be an extremely powerful tool. And if in the wrong hands, that extremely powerful tool can be used for extremely nefarious purposes. And so that would be the thing that I would be most worried about with AGI, whether it becomes self-aware or not, whether it becomes like Terminator, Skynet or whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that. I'm not technically well-versed in that. A couple of things, the just cause eviction stuff. I found the responses a bit evasive. That I did get some answers, but I was really wanted to dig a little bit deeper on that. I do think, though, that if somebody did a racism or a hate speech, and they were renting, and the landlord wanted to evict them for that reason, I believe that would probably fall within the general category of accountability that to me would be okay with. That it would be okay to kick people out of their homes if they had the wrong opinions and expressed it publicly. And she can deny it, but I have my intuitions on that. I appreciated Joe's elaborations on the landlord thing. I thought he brought some interesting stuff to that. With regard to AI regulation, again, I don't have a firm opinion on that one way or the other. I find it a little disappointing that one of the things that Demi mentioned was like AI generating sexualized pictures of people. Like, yeah, I don't like that either, but like, should there be regulations about that? And I'm thinking, well, okay, let's say we do a regulation that you can't do AI generated, like, the equivalent of a deep fake of, somebody is naked or something, a celebrity or a politician or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't like that. But some rando with Photoshop can do that without AI. And are we going to go after them when they do it? So if we don't go after them when they do it, I don't think we have any reason to say that AI is doing that. I think it should just be consistent one way or the other. You know what I mean? I am a radical free speech person. I don't think hate speech is even a legitimate category. And if you want to, as sort of like, you have a certain idea of what constitutes hateful speech, that's fine. But the thing I object to is sort of like a legal category of, okay, well, now the big boot of government can come and stomp on your head because you said the wrong thing, right? It can be like, there's plenty of people who are hateful towards people like me. I am a straight white guy, and we are some of the most oppressed people today. Yeah, that'll get. I know. It's absurd, isn't it? It's absurd. There's actually a book called Unprotected Class. I forget the author's name, but you should take a look at it. It's really good. And there's also a recent Compact article by Jacob Savage talking about how white millennials and even Gen Zers are being locked out of the economy because, we have all these diversity quotas. So, yeah, I know, but my lived experience trumps your lived experience. I think that's how that goes, right?
Yeah, because you're so underrepresented.
Hey, one fool at a time. One fool at a time. One fool at a time. There's one thing about one fool at a time. One fool at a time. Don't be a dickhead. All right. So one of the things about the insurrection thing, there was actually a really good debate between Glenn Greenwald, who won the Pulitzer for disclosing the Edward Snowden stuff, and creepy scumbag streamer Destiny. If you're familiar with Stephen Bennell, he's a creep. Like, I think we should all agree he's a creep. They actually had a really good debate on Glenn Greenwald's channel on whether or not January 6th was an insurrection. And I thought that Greenwald, who is himself a homosexual Jew who lives in Brazil with adopted children, which is not the typical kind of person who would be like, that was totally not an insurrection, but he's of that opinion. It was not an insurrection. And I thought that his argument was compelling. But if you want to sort of both sides on that, the Destiny versus Glenn Greenwald, you would go to the Rumble platform, YouTube alternative. You would go to Rumble to find it. I think Greenwald brings up some very excellent points. There's also a site called AmericanDebunk.com, goes over all kinds of the, various hoax stories about President Trump, like, Russian collusion. And he said that there were fine people on both sides, and he was referring to like neo-Nazis and stuff. He absolutely was not. That's totally fake news. He was talking about the statue debate, which was what sparked the, 2017 Charlottesville thing that was about statues originally before it got violent. And then as far as elections, I'll end it with this. As far as elections, what we have, the burden of proof is on people who tell me what the election result is to prove that that's what it is, not that I have to prove that there's fraud. And here's why. We have what I would call an intentionally non-transparent system. There's so many things we could do to increase transparency of our election process. The fact that we don't do them means that that's a choice that's being made. And if that's a choice that's being made, chances are like 99.945% that it's because they're covering up shenanigans that they're trying to do. Like, for example, the election machines, the electronic, where I could touch the screen to vote for the candidate I want. I can't, or any third party, because it's proprietary, can't audit the source code. It's a black box. So I'm just supposed to trust private corporations like Smartmatic and Dominion telling me what the results are, but I can't audit the source code to see that things aren't being tampered with. I can't audit the hardware to see if it's even internet capable, that it can be hacked from outside. I can't do that. So I'm supposed to just trust that. And then the other thing, the biggest vector of fraud, in my opinion, from 2020 was probably the mail-in ballots. It is an unreasonable ask, which is essentially what people are doing. It's an unreasonable ask to say, hey, Vic, guess what? The Postal Workers Union is going to endorse one of the candidates, and they're also going to be in charge of handling tens of millions of ballots behind closed doors with no verified chain of custody. And you need to be okay with that. What?
Why?
That's like the biggest conflict of interest I've ever seen.
Get out of here.
With
That's
the
goofy.
highest stakes on the line.
You're
You
goofy.
can't ask me to buy into a system where a union who endorses one of the candidates gets to handle ballots, tens of millions, behind closed doors. Can't do it. Unreasonable. That's just stupid. But again, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
All right, Kelvin, you want to rebut real quick? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to rebut that, idiot. Okay, number one, yeah, you're one of the most oppressed minorities. I'm straight and white, okay? And I'm so underrepresented in government. You can't find a white straight guy in government. So you can look all day. They're all on Grindr. You can't find them anywhere, They're all black, they're all women. There's nobody representing you, right? You talk about Dominion. Do you fail to remember that Fox News lost a court case and had to whack out $750,000 fucking dollars because they told lies about Dominion? Do you seem to forget that there were 62 court cases in your country, and the people who claimed election fraud lost 61 of them? Do you seem to forget that there was all those audits of Wisconsin and Arizona and everywhere else? There was more audits than anywhere else, right? You want to talk about election fraud? You want to talk about that? I'll tell you about how about a government that deliberately tried to sabotage your postal service in the time of a pandemic just to give them a better edge on the election.
Okay, is that it, Kelvin?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do the final rebuttal tonight. And it's going to be, how in the hell did we elect this clown, Donald Trump, to office? Well, that wisdom goes back at least 2,500 years. Plato was an early critic of democracy, and he wrote, "From inside a democracy and not against it." His central warning was, democracy collapses from internal excess and not external attack. Plato's core argument, as outlined in the Republic, was that democracy prioritizes freedom above all else and equality of opinions regardless of wisdom or expertise. The result was truth and competence lose authority by people who think they have all the answers to everything. Expertise is dismissed as elitism. Popularity replaces merit. Entertainment and outrage outperform reason. And citizens reward those who flatter their desires and grievances. Now let's take a look at what Plato called the demagogue. They claim to speak for the people. They promise simple solutions to complex problems. And they've said that modern politicians today have a better ability to speak and persuade and to handle complex governmental problems or efficiencies. And that's one of the reasons our democracy might be failing. Let's take a look at our modern parallel, and that's Donald Trump. He rose by discrediting the media, courts, elections, and expertise. He gained loyalty through grievance, spectacle, and confrontation. Democratic excess led to our weakening of laws and norms, erosion of institutional trust, and constant conflict and instability. Citizens became exhausted and fearful. And why do we turn to strongman rule? Because chaos produces a demand for order. People will willingly surrender their freedoms. And democracy transforms into authoritarianism by consent. Trump is not an anomaly. He fits Plato's predicted cycle of flattery, chaos, and demand for control. Democracy enables its own undoing when it abandons wisdom. The thing is, democracy falls when it confuses popularity with truth, freedom with virtue, and volume with wisdom. Democracy only survives if it elevates reason, discipline, and moral responsibility. Democracy does not die in chains. It begs for them. And to be honest with you, I think the best way to overcome this in our democracy is through civics, education, voter awareness, and perhaps maybe a little bit more education on the issues. Because we're not going to want our freedoms taken away. We all want to vote, and we all want to vote for the best candidate. The point of the matter is, if somebody like Donald Trump rose, because let's face it, I hated his campaign speeches. They were nothing but blather and rapidity versus a guy like Joe Biden, who was able at least to speak and coherently and deliver a good speech. Donald Trump is good at one thing, and that is blaming others, strife, and whatnot. And the point of the matter is, Plato has warned against this since for 2,500 years. It's the reason Rome fell. And there are countless other examples. With that, I think I've given somewhat of a reasonable explanation of why Mr. Trump went to order. Let's get our speaker up here to give the last word, her last bits of wisdom. And I thank her very much for coming again, because she's been a good sport against all you fools out there who ask these questions. And remember what a fool is. A guy who wants to, a fool is interested in only one thing. Fools are not interested in understanding, but only in the revealing of their own minds. Out of Proverbs.
For all the work, Tim, it's appreciated.
Huh?
Thank you for all the work. It's appreciated.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, I have to get running to another event, but thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for doing this for so many years and keeping it alive. It's amazing to see. But again, I'm Demi Palecek, running for 13th District State Representative. If you would like to donate, I am grassroots candidate. If you want to volunteer, let me know. Please just go on the website. And I guess abolish ICE, free Palestine, and protect trans children.
Okay.
Thank you.
And with that, the College of Complexes is hereby adjourned. Charlie, do you want to take up the chat after this or not?